Let's speak to the Chief Horologist. He sits hunched in a thick grey blanket. Not in this weather. His crow-like stare fixed on a disassembled clock, its gears almost too small for the eye to see. One empire, one time, one date. Time's changed. I have heard. Well, not if I have any say in it. He reaches for a pair of tweezers, the pincers barely thicker than a human hair. Time in London must be the time in Brabazon, in Welbury, in New Winchester, in Lustrum. To the second. It is the privilege and duty of this office to ensure that continuity. He sniffs. A task that was considerably easier before we began spending hours like shillings and sixpences. Now it might be yesterday in one place and next week in another. It is most untidy. Well, if you say so. Is that all he has to say? Apparently so. Look at the clock of Albion. From this side it is a polished wonder of valves, pendulums, and cogs working in perfect harmony. A breathtaking work of engineering. Only the finest engineers were permitted to work on it. Every component is encased in polished glass. The hands, sharp enough to slice paper, slide between the exquisitely carved numerals with buttered smoothness. Only the second hand is permitted to jump from moment to moment, and it does so with the precision of a military march. It's just for tourists, of course, grumbles a bleary-eyed apprentice. Albion time's really based on the old tip-top man's pocket watch. He keeps us straight. Except that time on his 90th birthday when he had one too many and the whole of Albion lost 2 hours. Examine the array of clocks. They all have the names of ports within Albion and the Reach. Lustrum, Brabazon, Port Prosper. The current time is right now. Despite the vast distances involved and the complicating effects of local hour usage, all the clocks show the same time. Each of London's territories is expected to run on Albion Standard Time, but London is a long way from them. Despite being a commandment from the Empress's own lips, it is a law more often breached than observed. Ask about the nature of hours. Their use remains poorly understood. Modest adjustments. The Chief Horologist doesn't bother to hide the weariness in his voice. No. Despite the imaginative claims of certain penny dreadfuls, hours can't take you back to yesterday, nor leapfrog tomorrow. But with the use of hour looms, a week's journey can be made to take a day, or a prisoner can endure the 10 years of his sentence while only 1 year passes outside his cell. A work world can perform a month's labor in a week. A lifespan can be stretched. The Empire, sister, runs on hours. Inquire about employment. Not just anyone can become a royal horologist. Don't know if this is quite Navanri's thing, but let's ask at least. A job for serious people. The Chief Horologist looks surprised at your inquiry, as well he might. Horologists tend to be cut from a specific cloth, a rather greyer fabric than that worn by a skyfarer. However, you have the right to take the examination if you wish. He blows the dust off a textbook and bids you sit down. No calculation devices or writing implements are permitted. The Chief Horologist peers over the book. If the current time in perdurance is exactly 17:15 of the clock, and the time in Albion is 18:34, what, pray tell, is the current time in Lustrum? Hurry up! I have no bloody idea. Alright, so it's given us 2 options that end in 15 and 3 that end in 34. So I'm going to guess that the answer ends in a 34. And I'm going to guess it's not the same as in Albion, which leaves us 1434 or 1934. And a little bit of psychology here, and there are 2 answers that's beginning with a 19, and we've already ruled out the one ending in a 15, so by a process of elimination, and this will almost certainly be wrong. Time in Lustrum is 1934. Wish me luck. Your answer is written down. Oh, that is your answer? Very well. We shall continue. Oh, I was hoping to know the answer. And now a tricky one, perhaps. Chief Horologist coughs. The train from the Brabazon work world arrives at 11:30 in London. The current time shown on the master Brabazon clock is... He winces. 14:30. If the train took exactly 1 hour to make the journey, it is not, of course. I merely offer this as a hypothetical for the sake of testing. What was the accurate time of its original departure from the work world? Well, this is no help. All the answers end in a 30. So the train arrives at 11:30. It took 1 hour, so it left at 10:30 in Brabazon. That would be 10:30, wouldn't it? It would be 10:30. I don't know. Interesting. Oh, very interesting. He pauses for a moment before writing our answer down. You wait patiently for several minutes, but the third question doesn't seem to be coming. The Chief Horologist's eyes have drifted close. A thin string of drool dribbles from his otherwise dry lips as he snores. Nudge the Chief Horologist gently. This fellow must be pushing 100. He wakes with a start. Huh? Oh. Oh, yes. Excuse me. He glances at your answers. Oh, dear. Well, I see little point continuing with the other 248 questions. I'm afraid you simply don't have what it takes. Do not be chastened. I pause. Perhaps a little chastened. There is only one clock of Albion. All else is inaccuracy. You can retake the horology exam in a month's time. But look here, if there are 250 questions, there is no way the game is going to take me through 250 questions. It just... They might have done that. Not totally out of the question that they would have done that. Because I've got to know these guys a little bit. It's not completely impossible. But I am willing to stake that they have not done that. So this may be a pointless quest. But fun.